This is Catholic Challenge on the Living Bread Radio Network. 16 teams will test their knowledge of the Catholic faith. Join us on this journey as we navigate our way from BC to AD and everything in between. Today's defenders of the faith will take up their shield and sword to compete for prize money and a chance to move on to the next round of competition. Are you ready for the challenge? Now, here's your host, Michael Roberts.
Hello and welcome to Catholic Challenge. Today we have two teams that will compete, testing their knowledge of the Catholic faith. Each team is playing for their favorite Catholic charity, and whoever wins today will earn $200 for that charity and the opportunity to advance to the next round. So today we welcome Ryan Furlong and Renee Strawler. They are playing for Little Flower, Tanzania. Also, Jerry Durda and Terry Durda, they are here playing for the Spiritual Life Committee at St. John of the Cross. So teams, welcome. Nice to have you with us. Before we begin our game, though, we like to hear the rules. Let's find out how to play.
In round one, each team will answer 5 questions. Correct answers are worth 10 points each. Questions are either true, false, or multiple choice. The contestants may confer, but the team captain must answer the question. There is no penalty for incorrect answers. If all 5 questions are answered correctly, the team will be given a chance to answer a bonus question worth 25 points.
All right, Little Flower, Tanzania, you will go first. Ryan Furlong, you are the team captain. Here we go. Let's play Catholic Challenge. Question number 1. At the Last Supper, Jesus prophesied that Peter would deny him how many times? 3 times, 10 times, or 77 times?
3 times.
Yeah, absolutely right. Here's question number 2, and it's true or false. Mary telling the angel, "May it be done unto me according to thy word," is also known as her fiat. Is that a true or false?
True.
Yes, and we're not talking about the vehicle, the Fiat, either. We should make that known. Here's question number 3. Who is known as the oldest person in the Bible? Jesus, Methuselah, or Adam?
Methuselah.
Comes from the book of Genesis, chapter 5. The whole lifetime of Methuselah was 969 years, then he died. Question number 4, this woman is the patron saint of the blind. Her eyes were renowned to be stunningly beautiful, almost like diamonds. Her name means light or lucid. Who is she? Saint Lucy, Saint Mildred, or Saint Francis?
Lucy.
Yeah, normally in statues of St. Lucy, we see her holding her eyes on a plate. Here's question number 5. Which of these is not considered a Catholic prayer? The Angelus, the Memorare, or the Trinity?
The Trinity.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. Okay, you got all 5 of those right. Let's move on to the bonus question. It's worth 25 points. Here we go. On what mountain was Moses given the 10 Commandments? Mount Carmel, Mount Tabor, or Mount Sinai?
Mount Sinai.
Yeah, that is right, and that is a round 1 sweep. Little Flower, Tanzania, you now have 75 points. We move over now to Jerry and Terry Durda. They are playing for St. John of the Cross and their Spiritual Life Committee. Jerry Durda, you are the team captain. Round 1 starts for you right now. Here's question number 1. A popular hymn invoking the Holy Spirit starts with these words: "Come, Holy Ghost, Creator blessed, and in our hearts take up thy" what? Cross, perch, or rest?
Rest.
Take up thy rest. Question number 2. In the Old Testament, who was the mother-in-law of Ruth? Bathsheba, Sarah, or Naomi?
Naomi.
That is correct. Question number 3. This patron saint was a wonderful musician, but sadly met her demise in 280 AD when she was violently stabbed through the neck. Who is this patron saint of singers and poets? Saint Camillus, Saint Louise, or Saint Cecilia?
Saint Cecilia.
The patron saint of musicians, Saint Cecilia. Question number 4. In the Roman Catholic tradition, which is the only calendar day of the year on which Mass may not be celebrated? Palm Sunday, Good Friday, or Holy Thursday?
Good Friday.
On Good Friday, we only have a communion service. That is right. Here's question number 5. The 3 theological virtues are faith, hope, and what is the third one? Meditation, charity, or silence?
Charity.
You got it. Absolutely right. You got all 5 of those right. Let's move on now to the bonus question. It's worth 25 points. Here we go. What are you reminding yourself of when you cross yourself with holy water when you enter the church? Are you remembering your baptism, the flood, or the tears of Christ?
Your baptism.
We are absolutely reminded of our baptism, and that is a round 1 sweep for you, St. John of the Cross. Okay, both teams now tied at 75. I have a feeling it's going to be a great game. We're going to take our first time out. When we come back, we will introduce you to our contestants. You're listening to Catholic Challenge right here on the Living Bread Radio Network.
Since 1919, the Ziegler family has served the community with trusted auto service and name brand products. 20 locations, 97 years, serving others. Ziegler Tire is a proud sponsor of Catholic Challenge. Find out more at ZieglerTire.com.
Catholic Challenge is made possible through the support of Ohio Catholic Federal Credit Union, providing convenient locations throughout Northeast Ohio. NCUA insured. Online at ohiocatholicfcu.com.
And welcome back to Catholic Challenge here on the Living Bread Radio Network. I'm your host, Michael Roberts, and today our competitors are Ryan Furlong and Renee Strawler. They are playing for Little Flower, Tanzania. And we have Jerry and Terry Durda. They are here playing for the Spiritual Life Committee at St. John of the Cross. So teams, welcome. Let's take a moment now and introduce you to our listening audience. Ryan Furlong, I'll begin with you. You're here with Renee representing Little Flower, Tanzania. I know there's a Little Flower in Middle Branch. There's a Little Flower in Tanzania as well. Talk to us about what you're playing for.
Exactly. We're playing for Little Flower, Tanzania, and it was chosen as a missionary opportunity by Little Flower Parish here in the North Canton area. And since about the 1970s, Little Flower Parish has been blessed by the presence of many Tanzanian priests as Mass celebrants, confessors, and friends. And it is in the Moshi Diocese of Tanzania.
So Ryan, talk to us about yourself and your partner, Renee.
Well, I'm a seminarian for the Diocese of Youngstown, and currently I'm on my pastoral internship year at Little Flower in North Canton. And Renee is a parishioner at Little Flower in North Canton, and she is involved in various ministries in the church. She's in choir, liturgical committee, and she's a Eucharistic minister, among other things.
Very good. So both of you are obviously very highly involved in the faith. And Ryan, prayers to you and blessings to you as you continue your discernment. Thanks for being here once again.
Thank you.
We move over to my right now. We've got Jerry and Terry Durda from the Spiritual Life Committee at St. John of the Cross. You have the same last name. I assume you're related, right?
Yes, we are. We've been married for 36 years.
Very good. Talk to us about St. John of the Cross. Where's that at?
That's in Euclid, Ohio.
Oh, okay. So, wow, up north there. And are you both members of the Spiritual Life Committee? Is that what made you choose that to play for?
Well, Terry is, yeah, and it's a brand new committee at the parish. So what we're hoping to do is to get some funds to help develop a space where we can put out reading materials, other resources, and people can sort of relax and chat and sort of strengthen your community bonds before and after Mass.
Yeah, nice to hear that. Hopefully it'll all go towards that. Also, Jerry, tell us about yourself. And Terry, you mentioned how long you've been married, but what else should we know about you and your wife?
Well, we have 3 wonderful children and 2 granddaughters. And by the time this airs, God willing, a 3rd granddaughter who is currently on the way.
All right.
And as I said, Terry is a member of the Spiritual Life Committee at St. John of the Cross. Right. And I'm a member of the liturgical committee there as well.
Very good. So obviously the liturgy is part of your life in many ways. So it's great to have you with us. Thanks for making the trip from Euclid here as well. We're in the midst of a great game here. Both teams are tied at 75, and we move on now to round number 2. But before we do that, let's hear the rules.
In round 2, each team will answer 5 questions. Correct answers are worth 15 points each. Questions are either true, false, or multiple choice. The contestants may confer, but the team captain must answer the question. There's no penalty for incorrect answers. If all 5 questions are answered correctly, the team will be given a chance to answer a bonus question worth 25 points.
All right, let's do it. Little Flower, Tanzania, we'll begin with you. Round 2 for you. Ryan Furlong, team captain, is right now. Here we go. Question number 1. In the Old Testament, who was the young man who defended the innocence of Susanna when 2 wicked elders accused her of adultery? Was it John, Daniel, or Samson?
Samson.
No, the correct answer there was Daniel. Here's question number 2. From the book of Tobit, chapter 2. On the festival of Pentecost, the Feast of Weeks, a dinner was prepared for Tobit. He asked his son to find a poor man from their kinsmen to share in the meal. Who is Tobit's son? Thompson, Tobiah, or Tobit Jr.?
Tobiah.
Correct. Here's question number 3. This is a formal and deliberate denial or doubt of any revealed truth of the Catholic faith. Is it a heresy, a revelation, or a theory?
Heresy.
That is correct. Question number 4. When the prodigal son returned, his father gave him 3 things: a robe, shoes, and what else? A ring, his own bedroom, or a hat?
A ring.
It comes from Luke chapter 15, verse 22. Quickly bring the finest robe and put it on him, put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. And finally, here's question number 5 for you. Before his conversion experience on the road to Damascus, what was St. Paul known as? Simon, John, or Saul?
Saul.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. All right, at the end of round number 2, Little Flower, Tanzania, you have 135 points. We move over now to the Spiritual Life Committee at St. John of the Cross in Euclid. Jerry and Terry Durda, it is time for you now. Jerry, you are the team captain. Round number 2 starts right now. Question number 1, in the book of Tobit, what angel secretly guided Tobiah? Raphael, Gabriel, or Michael?
Raphael.
We hear about the Archangel Raphael in the book of Tobit. Question number 2 from Mark chapter 2, verse 23. As he was passing through a field of grain, his disciples began to make a path while picking the heads of grain. The Pharisees complained that this was illegal on a particular day according to Jewish law. Which day was it? Passover, Sabbath, or the Day of Atonement?
Sabbath.
That is absolutely right. It was the Sabbath. Here's question number 3. In what language was the Old Testament originally written? In Latin, Hebrew, or English?
Hebrew.
You got it. Originally written in Hebrew. Question number 4 from Genesis chapter 11, verse 5. The people of this place were building a tower to reach to heaven and to become famous. To thwart this effort, God confused their language and scattered them all over the earth. At what city did this occur? Tower City, Babel, or Stone Town?
Babel.
Yeah, you got it. Here's question number 5. The Catholic doctrine that Mary was conceived immaculately in her mother's womb and was preserved from original sin is called what? Annunciation, purification, or the Immaculate Conception?
The Immaculate Conception.
We celebrate that doctrine every year on December 8th. You got all 5 of those right. Let's move on to the bonus question. It's worth 25 points. Here we go. According to Luke, what animal were the 2 disciples asked to collect and bring to Jesus for his procession into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday? A zebra, a colt, or a camel?
A colt.
That is absolutely right, and that is a round 2 sweep. St. John of the Cross, you are now in the lead with 175 points. Little Flower, Tanzania, you are trailing with 135 points. We're almost ready to move into round 3 here today, but before we do, let's pause and thank our sponsors, our generous sponsors, for making all of the prize money available for our game here each and every season. We say thanks to Ziegler Tire, St. Raphael Bookstore, and Ohio Catholic Federal Credit Union. We're so thankful to have these great organizations continue to partner with us to help all of you learn more about the Catholic faith. So thank you to our sponsors. All right, now on to round number 3. Let's hear those rules.
In round 3, each team will answer 5 questions. Correct answers are worth 20 points each. Questions are either true, false, or multiple choice. The contestants may confer but the team captain must answer the question. There is no penalty for incorrect answers. If all 5 questions are answered correctly, the team will be given a chance to answer a bonus question worth 25 points.
All right, here we go. Little Flower, Tanzania. We begin with you. Ryan Furlong, you're the team captain. Round 3 starts right now. Here's question number 1. Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI was born in which country? Sweden, Poland, or Germany?
Germany.
Yeah, of course, Pope Benedict is a German pope. Question number 2. Which of these words is a title for Mary, the mother of Jesus? Madonna, Magisterium, or Magnificat?
Madonna.
That is absolutely right. Question number 3. It's true or false. The liturgical season of Easter is celebrated for 50 days, starting on Easter Sunday and concluding with Pentecost Sunday. Is that true or false?
False.
No, that is correct. The liturgical season of Easter is 50 days. It starts on Easter and it concludes with Pentecost. Yep. That's 7 full weeks celebrating the Lord's resurrection. So that is true. Here's question number 4. We celebrate the feast of St. James on July 25th. He and his brother, St. John, were called by Jesus as they were fishing with their father on the Sea of Galilee. Who is the father of the apostles, James and John? Zechariah, Zebedee, or Zeus?
Zebedee.
The sons of Zebedee, absolutely. Question number 5, here we go. The second commandment prescribes respect for which of the following? The Lord's name, the church, or your parents?
Lord's name.
You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. All right, at the end of round number 3, Little Flower, Tanzania, you have 215 points. We move over now to the Spiritual Life Committee at St. John of the Cross in Euclid with 175 points. Jerry Dirda, you are the team captain. Here we go. Round 3 starts right now. Question number 1, what is the liturgical color for Pentecost? Is it purple, white, or red?
Red.
Yeah, you got it. Question number 2. The parents of St. Therese of Lisieux were beatified in 2008 and were canonized by Pope Francis on October 8th, 2015. They are the first ever married couple with children to be canonized in the same ceremony. St. Therese's parents are Louis and Zélie. What was their last name? French, Martin, or Brown?
Martin.
That is absolutely right. Here's question number 3. After the ascension of Jesus, the apostles were gathered in one place together. There came from the sky a noise like a strong driving wind. Tongues of fire parted and came to rest on each one of them. This happened on what occasion? Pentecost, Passover, or Divine Mercy Sunday?
Pentecost.
Yeah, the descent of the Holy Spirit, absolutely. Question number 4. Where can the Beatitudes be found in the Bible? In the book of Exodus, Isaiah, or Matthew?
Matthew.
The Gospel of Matthew is where we find the Beatitudes. Here's question number 5. Upon Mary's visit to her cousin, she proclaimed Mary as the mother of my Lord. Who was Mary's cousin? Martha, Elizabeth, or Sarah?
Elizabeth.
Saint Elizabeth, and of course, the mother of John the Baptist. You got all 5 of those right. Let's move on to the bonus question. Here it is. It's worth 25 points. Judas gave the 30 pieces of silver he had received for betraying Jesus back to the chief priests. Which piece of land did they purchase with that money? Potter's Field, Corinth Port, or Jordan Valley?
Potter's Field.
Yeah, we read that in the Gospel of Matthew, and that is a round 3 sweep. St. John of the Cross, you're now in the lead with 300 points. Little Flower, Tanzania, you are trailing with 215 points. It's still very much anyone's game, and coming up, we've got the challenge round. We're going to take another quick time out, but before we do, we'll leave a question with you, our listening audience, so you can play along at home. From the Gospel of Mark, chapter 12, one of the scribes, when he came forward and heard them disputing and saw how well he had answered them, asked them, "Which is the first of all the commandments?" Jesus replied, "The first is this, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is Lord alone. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. What did Jesus give as the second of all commandments? We'll give you the answer coming up. Stay with us. You're listening to Catholic Challenge here on the Living Bread Radio Network.
For over 25 years, St. Raphael Bookstore has been your source for all things Catholic. We offer resources to help you learn and defend the faith. St. Raphael Bookstore, a sponsor of Catholic Challenge, online at catholicbook.net.
And welcome back to Catholic Challenge here on the Living Bread Radio Network. We asked you a question before we left, and it was from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 12. What did Jesus give as the second of all commandments? You shall love your neighbor as yourself. All right, we've got a great game going here so far. St. John of the Cross from Euclid, their Spiritual Life Committee, they are in the lead with 300 points. Little Flower, Tanzania, you are trailing with 215 points. We move on now to our final round. It's the challenge round, and it's a little different, so let's hear the rules.
This final round combines knowledge and speed. The first team to ring in may answer the question. If the contestants ring in before the host has finished asking the question, the host will not finish reading the question. If the answer is incorrect, no points are lost, but the other team will have the opportunity to hear the question in its entirety. Correct answers are worth 30 points each. There are 15 questions in the challenge round, and in case of a tie at the end of this round, we will have a tiebreaker question. The team with the most points at the end of this round will be awarded $200 for their organization and will move on to the next round of competition. And the losing team will be awarded $50 for their organization.
All right, here we go. Contestants, hands on your buzzers. The challenge round starts right now. Question number 1. 2 men appeared with Jesus when he was transfigured on Mount Tabor. Who were these men? Spiritual Life Committee.
Moses and Elijah.
Correct. Question number 2. The term the disciple whom Jesus loved actually referred to Little Flower, Tanzania.
St. John.
Yes, the beloved disciple. Question number 3. From John chapter 20, on the evening of that first day of the week when the doors were locked where the disciples were for fear of the Jews, Jesus came and stood in their midst and said to them, Little Flower, Tanzania.
Peace be with you.
No, I'll reread the question here, and St. John of the Cross, you'll have the opportunity to answer. From John chapter 20, on the evening of the first day of the week, when the doors were locked where the disciples were for fear of the Jews, Jesus came and stood in their midst and said to them, Peace be with you. One of the apostles was missing from that room that day. Which apostle was it?
Thomas.
Called Didymus, doubting Thomas. He wasn't there, and that's why he was doubting. Well, part of the reason why he was doubting. Here's question number 4. He is the patron saint of animals. His feast day. Spiritual Life Committee.
St. Francis of Assisi.
We celebrate his feast day on October 4th, and he was the first known saint to receive stigmata in 1224. Question number 5. At the conclusion of the sacrament of reconciliation, after the priest has assigned a penance, the penitent is asked to recite which prayer?
Act of
Little
contrition.
Flower, Tanzania.
Act of contrition.
The act of contrition. St. John of the Cross Spiritual Life Committee, you're in the lead with 390 points. Little Flower, Tanzania, you are trailing with 275. Let's continue on now with the challenge round. Question number 6. The first 5 books of the Old Testament are collectively referred to as what? Spiritual Life Committee.
The Pentateuch.
Penta, 5, the Pentateuch, absolutely. Question number 7, Genesis chapter 1 tells the first story of creation. How many days did it take? Spiritual Life Committee.
6.
Trick question. How many days did it take God to complete his work of creation? It took 6 days, and of course, he rested on the 7th. Question number 8. In the Gospel of Mark, the parable of the vineyard, Jesus references Psalm 118. He said, the stone that the builders rejected has become...
The cornerstone.
Little Flower, Tanzania.
The cornerstone.
That is absolutely right. We also hear that psalm on Easter Sunday. Here we go. Question number 9. To whom did the Blessed Mother appear in Lourdes, France? Little Flower, Tanzania.
Saint Bernadette.
In 1858. Question number 10. God told Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree of Little Flower, Tanzania.
Knowledge.
No, I'll repeat the question, and St. John of the Cross, you have the opportunity to answer. God told Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. What was the other tree mentioned in the middle of the Garden of Eden?
The tree of life.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. St. John of the Cross, you're now in the lead with 480 points. Little Flower, Tanzania, you are trailing with 335. Let's continue on. Here's question number 11. The canonical Gospels do not give the names of Mary's parents, but tradition, drawing on Little Flower, Tanzania.
St. Anne and St. Joachim.
Yeah, we'll give it to you there. But tradition, drawing on the 2nd century Gospel of James, names them. Mary's mother is known as St. Anne. Who was her father? St. Joachim. Here's question number 12. What are the truths of the Church which are irrevocably binding for the faithful? Spiritual Life Committee.
Dogma.
You got it. Question number 13. Simeon tells the Blessed Virgin Mary that her heart will be pierced by a sword. We meditate on this event with the 4th joyful mystery of the Rosary. What is it? Little Flower, Tanzania.
The presentation in the temple.
You got it. Here we go. Question number 14. What prayer to Our Lady mentions the poor banished children of Eve? We say it a lot, but what is it?
What is it?
Need an answer. Nope. Out of time. Hail, Holy Queen, Mother of Mercy, our life, our sweetness, and our hope. The Hail, Holy Queen. We say it at the end of the Rosary. All right, here we go. Our final question, number 15. In the book of Genesis and the Gospel of John, it starts with the same first 3 words. What are these words? The Spiritual Life Committee.
In the beginning.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. And that is our game. The Spiritual Life Committee at St. John of the Cross, 540. Little Flower, Tanzania, 395. So congratulations to Jerry and Terry Durda. You have now moved on to the next round and have won $200 for the Spiritual Life Committee at St. John of the Cross in Euclid. Special thanks to Ryan Furlong and Renee Strawler. You have won a donation of $50 that will be given to Little Flower, Tanzania on your behalf. So thanks for being with us. Special thanks once again to our sponsors, Ziegler Tire, St. Raphael Bookstore, and Ohio Catholic Federal Credit Union, whose generous support provides our prize money. I'm Michael Roberts, and until next time, do your part and defend the faith. We'll see you next week for another edition of Catholic Challenge right here on the Living Bread Radio Network.
This has been another edition of Catholic Challenge, a production of the Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio. If you'd like to be a part of the program, email quiz@livingbreadradio.com. For an audio archive of this show, or to view the current brackets, go to livingbreadradio.com and join us next time for another edition of Catholic Challenge.